What a Wonder by Onomonopia. Chapter 33 The Impossible Choice. No, Diana whispered once more. She and Sensei gazed at each other, neither knowing what to do. No, no, you bastard! I won't do it! Wonder Woman bellowed before she turned upon the maestro, swung her blade at his head. A being simply phased out of existence, appearing across the field from Wonder Woman with a shake of his head. Fool, can you not understand? Maestro asked as Wonder Woman prepared to attack him once more. These people will die if you slay me, or even if I decide to leave. The only way for you to save them is to fight your student to the death. If you refuse, I will kill all of them. If you attack me again, I will kill all of them and then sunset. Am I clear? If you think for a moment I would dare to raise my blade against Sunset, then you are far more delusional than I believed. Wonder Woman bellowed as he clasped her swords together, creating bolts of lightning that arced across the metal. I'll find another way, no matter how hard it seems, because I don't crack! Sickening horror creeped up Wonder Woman's spine as he gazed up at one of the spears. It had shrunk considerably in a matter of seconds, and crushed the person within. The person inside was laying within the spear, motionless. Wonder Woman didn't need her supervision to know what happened. Wonder Woman turned her focus back towards the maestro, the wrath of Zeus and Ares blazing in her eyes. If you don't start fighting, then I'll start crushing all the spears. Now fight! Maestro demanded. Never, I swear! I'll get. Wonder Woman turned at the sound of the cry, expecting to see that Maestro carried out his threat. But what she saw was far more terrifying than Maestro could ever be. For what Wonder Woman saw was Sunset Simmer descending towards her, blade held high and violence flashing in her eyes. Wonder Woman raised her blade just in time to intercept the blow, holding back the struggling Sunset as he tried to force Wonder Woman's blade down. Sunset, what in the name of the gods are you doing? Said Diana asked her student. But Sunset gave no reply. Instead, she took a step back before thrusting the sword towards Diana's midsection. Wonder Woman spun her second blade down, parried the attack. But Sunset swung the blade back around and aimed at Wonder Woman's head. Sunset, what has come over you? Diana asked as he used her bracelet to deflect the blow. We have to fight, Sunset said weakly, closing her eyes as he glanced away from Wonder Woman. Don't you see that? We have to fight to the death, or else he'll kill all of them! No, he won't. I promise I'll find a way to stop him, Wonder Woman said. But when Sunset glanced up at Wonder Woman, there was a light in Sunset's eyes, a light that she had never seen in her prized pupil before. I know you will, but how many people will he kill you before you can? Sunset asked in a whisper. Wonder Woman opened her mouth to reply, but she glanced over at Maestro with uncertainty. Diana, we have to fight. At the very least, you'll buy time until you can think of something. But if you can't, Sunset began, forgiving Diana a tear-filled smile, I truly enjoyed being your student. The last thing I could do before I die is show you how much I've learned from you. So come on, Diana, let's go all out. Have an actual fight between the two of us. Sunset took up the fighting stance that Diana had taught her so long ago. Laying out his side as he made peace with her decision, she then screamed out as loud as he could before racing towards Diana, blade held high as he prepared to strike. No! Wonder Woman flicked her blades around in her hands, drove their tips into the ground. She then knelt down, placed her hands on her knees, closing her eyes as she heard Sunset approach. Sunset skidded to a halt in front of her teacher, gazing down at her with confusion. Diana, what are you doing? We have to fight or... No, we do not. The Maestro said that he will let the people go when one of us is dead. I'll not let anyone else die, but I cannot kill you. Diana said in a calm voice, so strike me down. Free the students and staff. It will be my penance for not killing this evil when I had the chance. Sunset stared down at Diana, who hadn't moved since he had knelt down. Sunset gazed from her teacher to her sword, not knowing what to do. Tears ran down her face as he lifted the blade over her head, taking aim at the back of Diana's neck. For a long, silent moment, nothing dared to move. Sunset let out a scream as he hurled her blade to the ground. I can't. I'm sorry. She saw as she backed away. Her words snapped Wonder Woman's eyes open, and in a moment she was on her feet, gazing down at Sunset. Sunset, you have to. It's for the sake of... And you call me cruel and evil, princess. Yet it seems that you are the heartless of them all. Wonder Woman snapped her head towards Maestro, who walked closer to the pair. Trying to make Sunset simmer kill you in cold blood? Even I can tell that it's evil. You said you would only free the students when one of us dead, and I will not kill her, Wonder Woman informed Maestro. But if she kills you, then you'll damn her to a fate worse than death, Maestro replied. Do not believe me? Just look at your oh-so-precious student. Wonder Woman did as Maestro asked, finding Sunset kneeling on the ground, tears streaming down her face as she looked away from Wonder Woman. You took her in at her weakest, helped not only heal her physically, but emotionally as well. Always believing in her, helping her to get better herself, being the loving teacher that she had sought to make proud for so long, Maestro said, Wonder Woman beginning to get the picture. Your teachings, the time you have spent together, and your relationship are everything to her. Everything she has shot, and now you are asking her to kill you. And I thought I was heartless. Sunset, Wonder Woman whispered weakly, but her student looked away with her with a sob. If she killed you, it would destroy her. Sunset would still die, but her body would physically live on. Maestro finished with a small chuckle. Leaves you in quite the interesting predicament. You thought it was to kill her, but if she kills you, you'll be forever destroyed. But if neither of you kill the other, another cracking sound could be heard. Wonder Woman glanced behind her to see another spear had contracted, killing the person within. Wonder Woman gazed at the monster's body to her student. Her heart began torn pieces and being the hardest decision of her life. Closed her eyes in acceptance before pulling both blades from the ground. Sunset. Sunset looked up in time to see one of Diana's godly blades bend itself to the dirt before her. Sunset then looked up at Wonder Woman, whose eyes could not be seen under her bangs. Take the blade, Sunset, 'cause this will be your final test. Sunset slowly rose to her feet, pulled the blade out from the dirt, sorrow spreading across her face as he took up a fighting stance. Because in this test, you will fight me to the death, Wonder Woman said softly as she took up her own fighting stance. If you are to even hope to win this battle, you'll have to use everything I taught you, along with what tricks you have. Fight your hardest. Do not hesitate to strike, for I'll be using all of my skill to fight you as well. Diana, Sunset tried to argue, but Wonder Woman shook her head to cut her off. Fight as hard as you can, Sunset. For them, I know you will make me proud. Tears strained in Diana Sunset's eyes once more as she looked past Wonder Woman and all of her fellow students and teachers, all of whom were gazing upon the scene with terror in her eyes. Terror for their lives. Terror for what was about to happen. Sunset closed her eyes and gritted her teeth. Her charging with a bellow. Wonder Woman brought out her blade to defend herself. Sparks flying as twin blades of lightning clashed. Wonder Woman then pushed back Sunset with a small effort before hurling a kick at the girl's head. Sunset rolled in her kick and slashed at Wonder Woman's ankles. But by the time the blade reached where Wonder Woman had been standing, she was already flying over Sunset. Sunset hurled herself out of the way, as Wonder Woman slammed her fist to the ground, creating an earthquake that could be felt for miles. The shockwave generated by the punch hurled Sunset across the field, but her training kicked in and she managed to roll to avoid any serious damage. But the moment she was back upon her feet, Wonder Woman was upon her, releasing a flurry of sword strikes that Sunset could barely deflect. With Sunset so focused upon the sword strikes, she never saw Diana's knee coming, until it slammed into her gut and lifted her feet off the ground. Sunset let out a gagging sound as she clutched her knees, but even in incredible pain, she managed to catch the movement out of her eye. She rolled just in time to avoid the tip of Wonder Woman's blade, which plunged itself into the ground just as she had been a moment before. This really is the final test, Sunset thought, as she fought through the pain and pushed herself back to her feet. Wonder Woman attacked in a flurry of strikes once more, forcing Sunset back as her student did everything in her power to defend or dodge the blows. She's fighting to kill. Please, Diana, tell me you have another plan, or you're just stalling to her until you can act it. I don't think that I can kill you. Please, don't ask that of me. Damn it all. What can I do? Wonder Woman bellowed within the confines of her mind, She tried to think of some strategy, some solution that would allow her to avoid fighting Sunset while being able to save everyone else. Maestro's spears are created by him, but he naturally shrink unless he uses his power to stop them. Is that the truth or just a bluff? Diana kicked Sunset hard in the ribs, sent her crashing into the ground, where Sunset spit out a bit of blood before securely picking herself back up. The moment Sunset was getting up, Wonder Woman glanced at the spears, and two that were already dead. That's a risk I can't take. Even if he's lying, I don't know how many more he'll kill before I can stop him. If I can stop him! Think, Diana. It's only a matter of time before he realizes I'm holding back. You know, Diana, I think I should thank you, I suppose. Maestro stood from his sidelines, turning Diana's focus to him, because this is a far more interesting outcome than I could ever hope would come from simply killing Sunset. I was preparing myself for disappointment when the world where I kill Sunset does not provide such results. Maestro's words caused Sunset and Wonder Woman to see red. For a moment she pointed her blade at him. You listen well, bastard! I promise you that Wonder Woman cried out in pain as Lance glanced her side. She looked backward, holding a hand to her side, shocked to see blood once he removed it. She glanced up at Sunset, had a look on her face as well as Wonder Woman's blood had come across her sword. For a moment, Diana glanced at her in disbelief, while a smile crossed her face. You do not wish to fight. You do not want to kill me. But the moment your foe is distracted, you go for blood. Diana whispered to herself as she took up a fighting stance once more. You never failed to make me proud, Sunset. So I pray you can forgive me. With a roar of her own, Wonder Woman then hurled herself forward, releasing all of her power upon Sunset. Sunset managed to inflict the first sword strike, but the sheer force of the blow knocked her off her feet and sent her flying. She crashed to the ground, pain coursing through her body, as she slowly sat up to see Wonder Woman slowly marching upon her. Sunset let out a shriek as she rose and lunged at Wonder Woman, who ducked under her strike before slamming her fist into Sunset's leg. The leg gave out immediately, and Sunset crumbled to the ground. She managed to hold on enough to her senses to raise her sword to deflect the next strike from Diana, creating more sparks as the two blades, forged by the gods, collided. Can't hold out! Sunset realized as she fled at another strike from Diana, her arms screaming in agony as they tried to stand up to the force of a goddess. Diana, if you have a plan, do it now, because if you don't, I can't much longer. I can't think of anything. Athena, help me, I can't think of anything. Wonder Woman realized as she slammed her blade into Sunset's, the force dropping Sunset onto her back. I can't stop Maestro. I can't break through his spears, not before he has a chance to kill all of them. What can I do? Diana let out a roar as she swung her blade once more. Sunset brought her blade up to intercept once again. As the blades collided, something happened neither could predict. That was Sunset's sword, shattered under the force of impact. Blasts of lightning erupted from the destroyed sword, forced Wonder Woman back for a moment. As the lightning faded, she glanced down to see Sunset lying beaten and exhausted upon the ground. It seems that the battle is over, Maestro said. Now kill her, or I will kill all of them. Wonder Woman then glanced over her shoulder at Maestro, able to see that the spears were already beginning to shrink. With sorrow and regret tearing apart her very being, Wonder Woman gazed down at her student. There was no fear or pain in Sunset's eyes. There was only a smile on her face. I guess you win. No surprise there, Sunset said weakly with a small laugh. Guess the test is over. So before I move on. How did I do? She asked with kindness and understanding in her eyes. No hatred towards Wonder Woman what she was about to do. You did amazingly. Wonder Woman managed to choke out. She lifted her blade over Sunset, pointing it down towards her. Even when I nearly used all of my power, you still kept fighting. You never gave in. I can be prouder of you. That's all I ever wanted, Sunset whispered before closing her eyes, a smile of contentment upon her face. Diana glanced over her shoulder at the shrinking spears, to the hooded face of Maestro, before glancing back down at her student's face. A single tear fell from Diana's eyes as she softly whispered a prayer as she struck. Even with her eyes closed, Sunset knew that the warm liquid had sprayed all over her body. But what she didn't understand was why she didn't feel any pain for the killing blow. After a few moments, she opened her eyes to see what had happened. The very first image she saw brought horror to her soul. "Diana! Diana!" Sunset screamed as she stuck to her feet, racing over to Diana, who was on her knees and soaked with blood. Sunset covered her mouth in horror as she gazed at Diana's blade, which had been driven through her chest up to the hilt. "Oh God! What did you do? What did you—" "Because the battle can only end when one of us dies," Wonder Woman said in a whisper. Sunset knelt down next to Wonder Woman and leaned her teacher against her body. Supporting her as best as she could, she pulled the sword from Diana's body and hurled it aside. "But why? You had won! You should have—" Sunset said, tears pouring down from her eyes. "We still need you! Who's going to stop Hades? Who's going to get back at Maestro? Why? Why didn't you kill me?" Wonder Woman turned her head to gaze at Sunset, a warm smile on her face as she reached up and placed her hand upon Sunset's cheek. "How could I? You are my beloved student. Even with Hades and Maestro, I could never hurt you," Wonder Woman weakly said, face going paler and paler. "Your life is worth so much more than mine could ever be. You are the future of this world. You go so far beyond me. You are a light for the others." Wonder Woman then fell over weakly, glancing into the blood-soaked ground over her feet. "Diana! Diana!" Sunset screamed as she shook Wonder Woman, who was barely moving, even as she felt the last of her strength leave her. As she felt the cold grip of Hades slowly cross around her soul, she found the will to smile at Sunset one last time. "I am so proud of you, and I will always be in life or death," Wonder Woman said with all of her strength. "And if I die so you can live, then it's a death worth dying. Be strong, Sunset. Be kind. Be brave. Be yourself. You are my special and beloved student. Thank you." Sunset's heart went cold as Diana closed her eyes and hand slid off Sunset's cheek, weakly hitting the grass. "You know, Maestro, I just figured out the flaw in your plan here. What's to stop Sunset from learning how to defeat you?" "Well, I'm a multidimensional god. When she does, I'll just kill her." No, you don't get it. What's to stop Sunset's rage from turning to you and her figuring it out? What? Sunset's not an idiot. What's to stop her from thinking of how to beat you? What's to stop her from spending a lifetime learning, studying, learning everything she can about multidimensional physics, and then finding a way to defeat you? Ah! What? Yeah. Oh, hi, Conquest. There's the problem with your plan. With all of your plans. What's to stop some of these? You just cause the destruction and just leave it at that. You just leave the world behind. Me, I conquer planets. I destroy them before I leave. So that way I know that nobody's going to come after me. God, you're a moron. For the longest moment, neither time moved nor did sound dare to rent the silence. The Sunset let out a wail to the sky, hurling herself over the motionless body of her teacher, and sobbing with all her sorrow. For Wonder Woman, Diana was dead. Chapter 34. Deal with the Devil. Despite still being trapped within the spears, and at the mercy of Maestro, not one of the people that were trapped had any thought or concern for themselves. All of them were either too stunned or filled with sorrow at what they just witnessed. Every eye in the entire area was fixed upon the motionless body of Wonder Woman, and the sighing Sunset Shimmer who had yet to leave her teacher's side. Truly remarkable. I did not think for a moment that the annoyance would take her own life to spare yours. Maestro remarked with pleasure in his voice. There is nothing I love more than an unpredictable outcome. Seeing as Wonder Woman is dead, I suppose I should hand up my end of the deal. Conquest, your opinion? Yeah. Moron, come on. It's obvious. It was obvious from the very, very start that something like this would happen. How could you not predict that? I was predicting that. Almost anybody with half a brain could have predicted that. You offered a bunch of choices. We know Wonder Woman wouldn't kill. Sunset, if she had any other choice, we know Sunset wouldn't do it. So you only left with two possible options. God, this guy's a moron. I could probably do a better way of capturing, tormenting, and ruining this entire universe in 5 seconds! Maestro then flashed the spears a look. One by one, they lowered to the ground, popping on impact as they were fragile as actual bubbles. But with that annoyance out of the way, Maestro continued as he went up behind Sunset and named his hand at the back of her head, his shattered power forming around in his grasp. This time I dealt with the other one. You have been alive far longer than I should have allowed. Time to remedy that. No! Sunset's friend screamed as they all raced to their friend. See they were going, they would be too late. The power formed to the spear in Maestro's hand as he prepared to fire. But stopped as he looked to the side. A snarl escaped from him while he brought his hand back, ceasing his power, confusing those who were watching. Thank the Lord of the Dead, Sunset. He's brought you a little more time to live. Maestro informed Sunset, made no indication she had heard him. Maestro then glanced down at the dead body of Wonder Woman, and for the first time, as long as he could remember, he found a reason to be happy. But today has not been a complete loss. Failure, disaster. We shall meet again, Sunset, far sooner than you believe. As the Maestro faded out of the reality, Sunset's friend slowly approached Sunset. She had stopped sobbing. She didn't move from where she had knelt next to her teacher. The six came to a stop, close to a girl, not knowing what to say or where to begin. Sunset, Twilight began weakly. Are you? No, of course you're not. Sunset. Oh God, Sunset, I'm so sorry. Sunset said nothing to her friends. She continued to kneel next to Wonder Woman, with her hair obscuring her face. Twilight reached out to place her hand on Sunset's shoulder. She stopped and pulled it back with sorrow-filled eyes. I can't believe she's gone, Piggy said with her own tears streaming down her face. I can't believe what she did to save Sunset, Rainbow Dash said with respect, and sorrow in every word. Well, I can't believe it either, but maybe for a different reason, Dash. I can't believe that the author did this and took away any comeuppance or any type of meaning this would have for Sunset. I can't believe that the author did this and didn't realize just how little emotion it had. So I gave her a laugh for Sunset and us. I expected nothing less from her, Applejack agreed. I think she has more than earned our respect, Twilight said softly, every student and teacher nodding in agreement. For 20 minutes, no one dared to speak. Students and teachers around gathered Diana, none of them with dry eyes. Then, to the group's horror, Diana started to fade away into the next dimension. Her body crumbled as she were made of sand or dirt. Oh, for crying! And after a few seconds, there was nothing more than a pile of dust. That was all that remained of their teacher. None of the students knew how to respond to what they had just seen. Most didn't even try. Instead, they hung their heads and cried over their loss. Not just Diana, but the others that had been killed by Maestro. All focused on the pain, all except for Celestia. What do we do now? She finally eventually asked, turning every head towards her. Diana was the only one that could fight back against Hades' forces. She was the only one that could stop him. Nibari's ray. What's stopping Hades from simply sending another one of his forces here and taking the center of you? We're here. We fight! Rainbow Dash! You're back! Oh, God! I miss you, Dashy! Oh, I missed you so damn much! With as much strength as he could muster, the other girls agreed with her. But when they looked down for Sunset, She responded with silence. All you would lose. Bad, Luna! Bad! Go to your corner! I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, Princess. Look, how about I throw in fake Luna? All right. For a far more impulsive tone than her sister. You saw what Hades was capable of. How many of those souls does Hades have? For we are weak little bitches who can't do a dang thing, and we need a big, strong hero to protect us. We need all these brave, strong heroes because, despite us taking down bad guys that match up with perfectly well with certain villains that pop up in the Marvel Universe, we're nothing but weak cowards. And you people thought I wouldn't be this mad if it was a woman. No. Still pissed. And no, using Zod is not an excuse. What? I said, using Zod is not an excuse. Well, it is an excuse, but it's an excuse for crappy writing. Alright, using Zod and saying, what can they do against Zod? That's not an excuse to do it. That's an excuse for shitty writing just to say, well, I'm using Zod, so the heroes can't do a damn thing, See, what do you have up your sleeve now, you puny plebeian? And all I'm hearing is just, yes, I got him now. I have the perfect excuse to make these heroes weak. It'd be like if I were to write a Sailor Moon story and bring out a bad guy from some other universe and say, well, see, the Senshi have no chance against this guy because he is different than the other foes the Senshi have fought, so I have perfectly good reason to let him rape and murder. See what I mean? Now, Zod is not an excuse. Nor is any of this. All this has done is just made the girls look so weak, so pathetic, that it doesn't even look like a ponyfic anymore. As a matter of fact, I think it lost that right when Zod showed up. I think that's the point it ticked me off, was when it decided to bring in Zod. Yeah, you better believe I'm pissed. Oh, I am so ticked off right now. Magic. Every head snapped towards Sunset, the person that had spoken the word. She slowly lifted her head up to show the tears that were still pouring from her eyes, though she didn't earn them. But those eyes now held a fire within them. Well, Sunset finally got her balls back. I am amazed. I am so utterly pleased, author, that you decided to give her balls back. I am so grateful to you. Allow me to bow before your holy magnificence that you decided to give Sunset her balls back. Is there any other treat you would like to throw to us, the readers? Huh? Is there any other beautiful gift you want to throw to us? Magic. That's the key. Key to what? Fluttershy barely managed to squeak out. Oh, and we lost it. Sunset then rose to her feet and turned to look to her friends. Look at her eyes immediately put her friends on guard. Why? Because they had never seen the look that Sunset wore now upon her face. In spite of that one time she yelled at Twilight and was pissed off. Forgetting that. Do you remember the reason Diana came to our world in the first place? The reason she decided to become a teacher? Sunset asked her friends, who only shook their heads numbly, far too shocked to think straight. And you lost me. You so totally lost me. It's because Hades had killed one of Diana's friends, someone she cared about. Then he made her a deal. Sunset, Applejack whispered in horror, sprang across her face, casting out to what Sunset was thinking. Yakia boy, he offered her a trade. The life of her friend for 6 magical powers. Sunset finished, getting a gasp out of everyone around her. Since he glanced around with eyes that seemed mad. Diana never got to make that trade. She didn't want to. But now, Hades, answer. I have a deal for you. As if on command, a vortex of blackness opened 10 feet in front of Sunset, getting the students to jump back with shock. But the only change to Sunset when she saw the portal was a smile across her face. A smile that her friends had not seen since her evil days. Sunset began to walk towards the portal. What the hell are you thinking? Applejack screamed as she reached out and grabbed hold of Sunset's arm, stopping the girl in her tracks. Sunset slowly turned her head around to glare over her shoulder, her stare making Applejack's heart go cold. You know exactly what I'm thinking, Sunset replied in a whisper as she yanked her arm out of Applejack's grasp. She then took another step towards the portal. But this time, Applejack ran around in front of Sunset and held out her arms aside to obstruct her path. Well, there's no way I'm going to let you go. If you want to go, you'll have to go through me, Applejack challenged with fire in her eyes. Diana just gave her life to you, to keep you safe from Hades. Now you want to go marching right up to the monster that's been after you this entire time? Don't play stupid. It's what he wants. To let Diana stay with me for... In a flash of a moment, Sunset was upon Applejack, slamming her hand to Applejack's throat before clenching her fingers and hoisting the girl with one arm. Applejack gagged as she struggled against Sunset. Her attempts were useless against Sunset's greater strength. Sunset, what are you doing? Her friends screamed at her. But Sunset ignored them as she tightened her grip. Do not think I've forgotten for why Diana gave her life. She killed herself to save me, Sunset whispered with such menace in Applejack's eyes. No! It was because I was weak, because I needed saving. If I had the strength to kill the nightmare in myself, then she would never need to die. But as long as I have the smallest chance to save her, like she did me, then I'll take it. Sunset then hurled Applejack behind her, where Applejack slammed to the ground with a cry of pain. AJ's friends rushed to her side and slowly helped her up, while Applejack gazed at Sunset with disbelief and sorrow in her eyes. Sunset glared over her shoulder at the group, rage and pain flooding her eyes, but the gaze softened to that of regret as she looked away from them. I'm sorry, but I have to do this. She saved me so many times. I had to save her. I have to try, no matter the cost. Sunset then raced ahead to the portal, ignoring the screams of her friends in the process. The moment she entered it, her body felt like it was being pulled apart back together. Despite the unyielding pain, she remained focused. This time I will save you. Wow. Just wow. Out the window. All of Sunset's character development since the first movie just went out the window, people. Yeah. She's somehow acting more selfish here than she did in the first movie. Yeah, she's making this decision of her friends. Her friends' own magic without talking to them. This is not noble, people. This is selfish. A groan escaped Sunset's lips as she opened her eyes, finding herself laying down on the cold floor. Then again, considering how useless the main 6 have been throughout this entire fucking story, I'm not surprised that Sunset's being a selfish little bitch in this. She slowly pushed herself up, to look down to find that the floor was not only cold, but it held within the faces of people writhing in pain. A yelp escaped her lips as she sprang to her feet and backed up. But everywhere she glanced around, faces of torment gazed up at her from beneath the sickly green flooring. As a matter of fact, why Hades? Why not have a reincarnated Ares, or use Ares for the DCAU instead of this New 52 crap? Why not use Ares? He's more commonly connected to Wonder Woman. The only reason why we're using Hades was just for Steve Trevor. Or Artemis. Why not Artemis? Or some other Wonder Woman villain? Why just Hades? Why Zod in the first place? Forgive me. I did not expect to have a guest today. It did not have time to cover him up. Come on, Sunset. Sunset glanced up to see that there was only one place the voice could have come from. That was from the massive door behind her. Wait a minute. Faces streaming on the floor beneath her? Oh my god. She is in the place where the eclipse happened. Oh, if this story turns into Berserk, I might forgive it. Since it stole her courage as she began to walk further. Then steal your courage! Walking past statues of bones that would have terrified the hell out of her at any other time. But she knew why she was down here, and she pressed on. The door opened before her to reveal a massive chamber, with a black throne made out of bones that rested upon the center. Around the room constructed of souls were windows that allowed her to gaze upon a burning landscape, where the souls of those trapped within screamed and cried out for help. As it must pain her to do so, Sunset ignored them and instead focused on the figure in the center of the room. He wore black armor that made Sunset's stomach turn just to look at. But as terrifying as his armor was, the expression upon his veiled face was far more menacing, because when Sunset looked at the face and it smiled like the sun, she knew that she stood no chance against the being before her. He could feel the power, the unstoppable might that radiated off of him. Just like she had felt when Diana fought Zod, Sunset was in the presence of a god. Sunset Simmer, you've been causing me quite a bit of trouble. Please, sit. Let's say you said this. A second chair of bones erupted out of the floor, right behind Sunset. For a moment she considered saying no, but with Diana's life on the line, she didn't dare do anything to upset the god. So much as courage she could muster once more, she sat upon the chair. I gotta admit, it's kind of nice seeing you in person. How are you doing, by the way? You look like you've been through a lot. Hayes asked as he sat down from her across the phone, but all Sunset responded was a stone-faced silence. Right to business. I can respect that. Now then, I believe you're here for a deal with me. That's right, Sunset stammered out, doing everything in her power to keep her fear from overtaking her. And the balls that Sunset had just completely went away. Thank you, author, for proving that you live to tick me off with this. And congratulations, you have just proven to me why you're not a good pony thick rider. Equestrian Girl, Wonder Woman, you're perfectly fine. Batman, you suck at it. Pony, you suck at it. Other superheroes, you might be good. I don't know, because I don't care. Not planning on reading another story from you. Not unless I was paid to or forced to by my fans. And you guys wouldn't do that to me, would you? Would you? I could hear the low growling, low chuckling from this. A bright light illuminated around it, and a second spear erupted. A trade. The soul of Wonder Woman Diana for my magic. A thin smile crossed Hayes' face as he held out his hand. Bright light illuminated around it, and a moment later, a spear of radiant light appeared within his grasp. Even though it was nothing more than a ball of light, Sunset knew what, or rather at whom, she was looking. Diana, she whispered. Yep, and I am interested in your author. Because, as you said, I made another Wonder Woman too so many months ago, Hayes said. He smiled at Sunset at a moment. Sunset considered running for her life. The magic I sought for quite a while. But I'm sorry, Sunset. I can't accept the offer. But why? Sunset bellowed as she sat in her chair, forgetting for a second who she was talking to. Hayes raised an eyebrow in response. Sunset did not back down. Quite the fire within you. I can see why Diana was so impressed. The reason why is because the deal is not complete. Hayes explained as he twined his fingers and leaned back in his seat. Lord Diana, even though she is friendly, is one of my most hated foes. If you wished for me to return to her life, well, that would cost more than your magic. I would need a complete set. Sunset's heart sank in her chest as he heard this, knowing now that Diana's soul would be lost to her forever. People, allow me to properly instruct you to the proper reaction to this, where Sunset was a complete moron. Take out your palm. Aim your palm at your face. Then slap it against your face as hard as possible, preferably without your glasses. I like eggs. Well, suddenly the story makes sense. Micah's stuff is good to me now. I, I'm cured. I'm cured of my snarkiness. I do not feel like to continuing to tear this fake a new one. No, I still want to rip its a-hole apart. I can't. She whispered, sorrow tore across her heart. I can't trade you for my friends. Myself. That's not an issue. But I won't give them or their magic up. I would never betray them like that. Sun said, Wonder Woman told you she wanted all of you. She told you she wanted the entire group. What makes you think I wasn't going to go for the rest of them? Why? Did that whole fight with Wonder Woman just do something to your brain? I wanted the whole set. Where did you... That's fine by me, because it seems that they are more than willing. Sunset spun around to see all 6 of her friends standing at the entrance of the chamber. Most of them smiled at her, except for Rarity, who gazed in horror at the decor. Lead. My word! Look at this! So, you are paralyzed with fear. I'll say I'm paralyzed with fear. Faces upon red? What? Just... No! It clashes with the rest of the aesthetic and ruins the appeal of the area. Well, I'm going for menace and fear and horror. Urgh. I don't care what you're going for. This simply would not do. I mean, you do realize that the faces on the ground is cliché, right? It is. Verity nodded. Yes, it's completely cliché. Berserk has done it so many times. The Godhead does it on a regular Tuesday. But mine is different. How? I have skeletons and bones. Oh, so menacing. Menacing it so last year. What? Hades asked, completely and utterly shocked. Your decor, it's so last year. We get it. It's talk, it's dimension, it's chaos, and yada yada yada. But we need something more. This looks like it's something out of a child's theme park. I half expected to see Sweetie Belle holding on to my shoulder going, eee! Really? Just, no! This is probably the most cliché of villains I've ever seen in my life. Well, what do you expect, Rarity? I don't know. Bloop. Give us some ideas. And so was Hades beaten by Rarity's use of decor. It's the same fire the sunset held within hers, except a bit more noble. Once again, there goes all the character development, friendship, there's a teamwork that this whole entire show wanted to go for. You gotta love it when the author decides to throw out the themes of the show just to stick to his own bloody, non-working narrative. Guys, what are you all doing here? Sunset asked them as he walked over to her, with Rainbow Dash having to drag Fluttershy. Yep. There's the classic crappy city writer trope. Rainbow Dash having to drag Fluttershy. Because remember, folks, if you can't write Fluttershy well, just stick to her one trait. Because remember, if you can't do it right, don't do it right at all. Right, author? No. You can't be thinking what I think you're. If you people think I'm this pissed, wait until I get to wait until I get to Micah's in January. Of course we are. We want to see her just as badly as you did. Rainbow Dash said, with a smirk before she elbowed Sunset in the arm. How am I supposed to show Diana if she said? That was an arc. That was a theme I had. Apparently. We spent so long establishing that. that, yes, I want to show Diana up. Surprised? 'Cause we sure are. We thought about what you said. We spent days doing it, since Twilight informed Sunset. Wildora and Hades were confused. Days! No, 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 no. No. No, 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 no. No. Nope. No, 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 no. No! No. No. Congratulations. Any scene of friendship or any scene that you're going to involve where Sunset bonds with them or connects with them is going to be lost now. Now that she said we spent days doing it. It's going to be lost on me. I don't know about the rest of my readers, but for this guy, it's lost. It's lost because they actually had to spend days doing it. Alright, you want to know how you could have fixed this sentence without making it lost on me? We didn't even have to waste time thinking about it. That is the way you write that scene. Not, we spent days doing it. No. By saying that you said you spent days, you're essentially saying that they had to think about it. Fuck that shit. No. Twilight informed Sunset. Ludor and Hades were confusion. Time moves here as fast or as slow as I wish. Kind of a bit of it. He gave Ludor a smile. William easily agreed that you're a rat. Excuse me while I proceed to beat myself up to the side of the head with a book. Hard.
No, 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 no! We're almost done, come on!
Applejack says he walked forward with a remorseful look upon her face. Diana would have been willing to give everything to save us. So he did give everything to save us.
Well, you.
Yeah, it's mainly you. Apparently we're not important enough according to the author.
We're not important enough in the Batman story.
It's only fair. It's only right he'd be willing to risk everything to save her.
Yeah, friends will give up on each other. We'll spend days thinking of a decision that should really have no answer, but we'll never give up on each other.
Are you sure you're all okay with this? Giving up your magic? She asked him, but as he glanced over at each of her friends, they smiled and nodded at her. Even Fluttershy went back to looking terrified the moment Sunset moved on from the row.
We're by your side, Sunset, no matter what happens. Hi, I'm Rarity. Oh, hi, Rarity. Where were you during this past story? Oh, you know, here, there, not being written because the author can't write me well.
Rarity says he stepped forward. The other girls doing the same, except for Twilight.
I mean, I'm only here as a support. I mean, I had the entire... Do you know what I've been doing the last season? I had Empty Room on the Housewarming Eva story where I was a main character. I think I earned a little break.
I may not have magic, but but that doesn't mean I'm going to sit by and watch my best friend takes on the Lord of the Dead. We'll always be by your side, even if we have to go to hell and back again. This is what we're doing right now. Twilight said with a beaming smile.
And I have so many questions.
And while we may not have equestrian magic, we'll still have the greatest magic of all, friendship.
Well, it's all the magic we need, Albert continued, dying at each of the five who stood with her.
Oh, and to answer the author's question, you have already shown what they could have done against Zod.
Heck, you already showed it when you had Sunset actually damage Zod for a few seconds. You should have had him stab Zod, because apparently Zod's not all-knowing. You could have had their magic activated at that particular moment, and then gained some sort of new upgrade to their magic that would have put them on par. You could have had them use their magic abilities that Zod would have been found unable to handle. You could have had Sunset suddenly activate her magic and burn Zod alive. And you see what I'm getting at here?
Saying what could they have done against Zod?
It's not really an excuse. It's crappy writing. It's just you running out of ideas and asking me, the reader, to fill in the plot holes for you. Well, guess what? I'm not doing it. You have to get on that keyboard and you fill it out. Slime.
Sunset felt tears running down her face before she tackled the group.
I love you guys,
pulling them all in a hug.
Even if it took you several days to figure out an answer that, in the real world, the main six will have figured out in 5 seconds.
But you're still my friends, even though it took me about 5 minutes.
Nope, not letting that one down.
Despite there seeming 6 of them, she still managed to crush most of them with her strength. Strength of the Amazon she gained somehow. We never really established that. We just established that she trained hard. You guys are the best friends anyone could ask for, she said with tears as she held him tight. The group then broke into hug, and all turned to face Hades, who watched on with a smile on his face. Hades, I want you to promise me this. If I give you the magic, do you swear to return Diana to life?
I swear on the greatest oath that can bind a god,
he promised. Figuring that was the best they were going to give, Sunset turned to the others. They all grabbed hands and felt a magic channel within them. A rainbow of auras surrounded them as they started to float in the air, bathing the land of the dead in a kindness and peace that had not felt since its creation.
Yes, finally, the power I sought for so long,
he said as he rose from his throne, extending his hand towards the magic. The girls then all screamed at once as they released the rainbow upon Hades, closed his eyes and let the power consume him. Blinding light went off in the throne room and radiated all across the underworld, filling the denizens with hope and power. But then the light faded and the darkness returned. You know what would actually make the main six actually feel worth a damn in this story? If that blew him up. Did it work? Sunset asked as she picked herself off the floor. But then she lifted her head. Eyes went eyes, he glanced at Hades. His body shone with the powers of the elements. Each of their cutie marks engraved into his armor. Could've sworn I've seen this plot on Masters of the Universe. Oh, not the show, the live-action movie. The girl slowly rose up with Sunset, gazed upon the god with fear. This power, it's greater than I could ever imagine. Actually, I think that line was also from Masters of the Universe. He whispered as he stared down at his hands, with the pulses of rainbow energy running through them. There, we've given you the power of the elements, Sunset spat, gaining her Hades' attention as every girl glared at him. Now fulfill your promise. Restore Diana to life. I will, but first, there's another promise I have to keep, Hades informed the girls, who were shocked by his words. Another promise, but to whom? Mine. The girls let out gasps as Maestro appeared behind Hades. Hades then lifted his arm and fired a blast of magic to blast a cold chain through Sunset's chest. Fred screamed at hard at the killing blow. But all Sunset did was slowly look down at the new hole in her chest with wide eyes. As she slowly lifted her head to Hades, who bore a smile on her face. Diana. Sunset then coughed up a bit of blood before collapsing to her knees, reaching out towards Hades before she fell over and lay motionless on the ground. And the deal's complete. Sunset Shimmer is dead. And I've lost the ability to care past 5 minutes ago.